Hey, what's up everybody? It's me, Danae, and I'm here with a message for you. Happy Saturday. It's June 22nd, 2024. Get into it. 2 could be significant of an angel number for you today. If I'm not mistaken, it's a confirmation of your angelic guidance supporting your path and having courage to keep going in that regard. Knowing that, you know, it kind of brings to mind that statement, or I guess it's a question more or less. What would you do if you knew you were supported? Or something like that. What would you do if you knew you had unlimited support? So that could be significant to consider today. We're still in the full moon energy. It's still hot as hell in New Jersey. I know the beach is probably brimming over with New Jerseyans, at least. I mean, I guess other people from neighboring states may come over, I suppose, to our beach. My favorite is Ocean City, New Jersey. In New Jersey, of course, I appreciate beaches beyond New Jersey because, you know, if you know, you know. We don't have the most pristine waters in the world, but as far as beaches go in the state, Ocean City is one of my favorites. I love the boardwalk. The food on the boardwalk is really good. The activities. And the water is pretty decent, you know, and the beach itself is pretty clean. And all the times that I've ever gone, it's a nice balance of like young and older generations. Not completely young and dumb and not old and boring either. There's like a good mix in population at that beach. So anyway, hopefully you're doing something fun today and cool at the same time if you're caught up in the heat wave, because it is almost 100 degrees where I am. So be safe and sound and secure, whatever you do. All right, like in true New Jerseyan form, we got the Queen of Cups here. Snooki herself. Literally at the beach. If you can see like the sand here and the pebbles, or some body of water, but it looks a bit sandy to me. So that's pretty funny. But you wouldn't want to have on all these clothes at the beach today. That's for damn sure. It's too hot for that. But this is emotional intelligence, intuition. We're officially in Cancer season. So again, happy birthday, Cancers. We appreciate your energy for sure to help us really bridge the feeling of our manifestations before. That's really like the secret behind your manifestation magic, is the sensibility and sensational feeling, embodiment of it as you're already experiencing it in the present moment, and that being the magnetic force of it materializing in the 3D. So Queen of Cups here is a master of that to a great degree. Definitely discerning, and I was going to say insightful, but more intuitive than insightful. But of course, insightful can apply. Sometimes even a little bit psychic, you know, all of that. So let's see what else we got. Whoa, okay. All right, ladies. So this could be, this could be signature of having a real, like almost a keen sense. This is actually what I just said about materializing your energetic frequency, or how it is the force fuel of your materialization, probably better put. How your feelings ultimately become magnetic, and before you know it, there is the materialization. Not usually that cut and dry, of course. It usually takes a great deal of devotion, dedication, maybe even affirmation, focus, recitation, like almost programming of, or maybe reprogramming of your emotional intelligence, because it's the most delicate and, well, most vulnerable, and there's another word I want to use. Impressionable. Yeah. Most vulnerable and impressionable essence of you. You know, think about how your mood could change just like that. Shout out to Cancer. No shade. But think about how your mood could change in an instant off of certain, even just off of a thought, you know, that you personally impose or interject, but certainly off of surrounding projections or inferences, or I'm struggling with a word today. You know why? It's because I'm really, really hot. I don't know. This is probably the hottest day that there is, and it's supposed to cool down a little bit, but I really almost turned the fan on today because I'm like, whew, I don't know if I could do this, but I'm doing it. I'm doing it for you. It's all for you. But even though you probably wouldn't be that bothered by the fan, but to me, it's just a little bit distracting, that constant sound in the background. The birds, a different frequency, but the fan, not so much. But anyway, the Queen of Cups can be quite impressionable, if not for her mastered ability, her mastery of her emotional essence and emotional intelligence, to not just feel her feelings, which are quite valuable in essence. You know, that, as I've said before, your feelings work for you. They are your signs and signals of what's working, what's not, what to be alerted of, what to keep going in, even on the upside of when you're feeling certain surges of happiness and bliss. You know, more or less, that you're doing something right as well. And that is absolutely the foundation of positive manifestations, when you can maintain a frequency of bliss and peace and optimism and love and, you know, all of those good things. But certainly knowing how to transmute even the more dense emotions that we can't help but to feel, whether it be internally or from an external impression. Knowing what to do with those is also highly valuable as well, because it certainly isn't always gumdrops, lollipops, and rainbows. But what you decide and discern as the master of your spiritual essence is what it shall be. And you can literally almost alchemize that energy to be something tangible, something measurable, or use it magnetically to attract the same. So we got the Six of Pentacles here. This is, ooh, look at this. Like, this is a, well, let me fan real quick. This is the Six of Pentacles, which is, it could be gift giving or receiving a gift. And I like it with this Ace of Pentacles, because could that be the gift? I didn't mean to do that, but here we are. That could be a reception of a gift here. Or what else could that be? it feels it feels like something's multiplying. Maybe the gift itself, if we're talking about intuition and maybe some psychic abilities or something of a spiritual essence that you possess or pronounce. Could even be love itself. You know, love is definitely the most powerful manifestation fuel that there could possibly be, honestly. Used in a productive frequency, of course. But then again, if it's not, then it isn't really love. You know, if it's, then it becomes tainted as something else. So it would have to be pure in order for it to truly be prosperous. But I get with the Queen of Cups that there's a pureness of heart here. And so that's what's yielding this return and reward, where these two here are really important. That cup somehow turns into a coin. Love turns into money. Or love is somehow some commodity. And that's the thing. It may be speaking to whomever can relate in regards to really tapping into that innermost essence of you that you may even be more protective of, you know, a bit guarded of, even unto yourself, you know, some depths of that emotional essence of you, or even experiencing yourself in love or in a loving frequency that could be scary or intimidating at times. Certainly, not vulnerable is what I want to say, but certainly, did I say intimidating already? Maybe I did, but there's another word that I'm trying to hear. But either way, okay. Queen of Cups, somehow her love is like gold. That's what I'm sensing here. This feels like an energy that is one embodiment, and this is the internal, you know, maybe more sacred aspect of that energy, and this is perhaps even what others can see or what others experience. That has a more practical facade, you know, that you may not know, that perhaps like even a businesswoman is as emotionally driven and spiritually influenced to do what she does than the product that you perceive. It's something about that here. So I feel like, back to what I was going to say, it feels like an encouragement to really drive your material advancements from a spiritual force first and foremost. And sometimes, you know, as I said, the water energy, cups, emotions is like it's like that energy is like you can't live with it, can't live without it type of thing. You know what I mean? And depending on your come from, you may not be all that comfortable sharing your emotional, intuitive, or even loving nature. So you may want to keep it more practical because that's where it could be more safe and relatable. But there's an advancement here that may be contingent upon someone giving more of themselves in a spiritual form than perhaps they either have done so before or than they are usually secure to do so. Yeah, because Queen of Pentacles is definitely about security as well. Practicality, security, stability. Whereas Queen of Cups is like I said, your energy could be one way today and change in a second. Much less reliable and dependable, but there's something grounded enough about you, particularly in the mastery of the integration of those emotions into your natural life, that can handle the charge and the challenge if you can relate. And it's also going to, whatever this gift is that you possess, so it seems, it has the potential to advance not just you successfully, but others. So it's kind of like whatever it is that you do, that in this case you may be secretive about, or you just may not facilitate as frequently as you do those more palatable expressions of productivity, you're being called to tap into that for yourself and for the advancement of others that may or may not even, it's like you may be the gift that they didn't even know they needed. It's like they don't even know that they're in need, but they're happy to receive it. Wow. What I'm getting, yeah, and with this Two of Swords here, is that some that may have more intuitive gifts and withhold them for fear of being weird or alarming to others, particularly, those that, hell, sometimes you don't even know, or to follow the impulse to speak in certain ways or to speak on certain things that may not be so commonplace or may not, be so practical of a topic, or, let me simplify, because I'm trying to find a roundabout way to say it. It's like somebody that has prophetic gifts or intuitive gifts, maybe even psychic abilities, and you come across people in the street and a nudge within you. This is real, like, practical, right? Real, sort of, kind of, but you come across people in the street, or you're in a store, or you're at a restaurant, you got a waitress or whatever, and something in you tells you to speak to them in a very certain way, in which you really, having no previous knowledge or acquaintance with this person, you almost would want to resist that urge. Like, I'm not saying that to that person. I don't even know them. Or I'm not going to walk up to them and ask them, is there something I could help you with? Or, like those practical social boundaries that we, almost social distancing that we maintain with one another, more as a protection, if you get into it, as a protection for ourselves, than it even is for anyone we may encounter. But in this case, it's like of a spiritual essence. I'm feeling it. So much so that I've been trying to find a practical way to say it so that it's not as just cut and dry as I'm saying it right now, because I know everyone may not be able to necessarily relate to what I'm saying. And that's okay too. It may just be that you've been resistant to that aspect of you which is why you may not be able to relate, because really at the core of your being, we all have an intuitive nature. It's just a matter of how well exercised it is so that you learn to trust it, you know, and to express it then. But anyway, so that's what I'm picking up, to the point where somebody literally could be out and about and feel maybe even the urgency to speak a word or to connect to someone intuitively, to transmit information to them that you may or may not even know why you know or how you know, or at first you may or may not even feel like you know what you know, but you feel compelled to say it anyway. And it end up being the exchange that ultimately is life-changing for someone. And you imagine what would have happened if you had withheld that experience for fear of yourself looking weird or overstepping your boundaries or making other people feel strange about you. How you could have, you know, deprived someone of ultimately an upgrade here, you know, because it's not even just for cup's sake. It's literally like advancing someone in a very material and even energetic form, just by way of something that flows within you that may or may not be so easy to explain practically. You know, you may literally not even know how to put your finger on what you do, how you do it, how you know what you know, the moments in which you feel intuitively guided to share something, and so on and so forth. But anyway, I think the point here is to lean into those urges more, because there's something in store for whomever is on the receiving end of that grace, but also even for you. Like, you never know, you could be engaging someone randomly on the street and give them a word of wisdom or knowledge or of love, even encouragement, and that be the advancement of your life. Somebody want to give you a donation or an offering because you could have had no idea how much they needed to hear what you said in that moment, or how much they needed, even if we're talking about energy transfer, you know, just you being your loving, natural, compassionate, kind self. Maybe it's not a word, it's a transfer of frequency. And you'd be surprised how much someone needed to feel respected, appreciated, valued in that moment, and is willing to exchange the value of their appreciation for something that actually is quite tangible for you, you know what I mean, or quite advancing for you. So this is either someone that lives in that frequency and may be encouraged to do so more freely, more openly, with less inhibition, maybe even exploring that more throughout this Cancer season, where intuitive intelligence is at an all-time high for everyone. Not even, you know, even if that's an innate gift to you, everyone can tap into that frequency, you know. So if you're not afraid to do so, and you're not insecure to be a little different, you know, than the average allows themselves to present themselves, you may actually find a great reward in it. If nothing else, extreme fulfillment, which then still is transferable to your own spiritual bank, because how good does it feel to make somebody's day? If you've ever done it, you know, like how valuable you feel in a moment to have done something or said something, or just to be present in a space that seems to have a positive effect on someone else. At least I feel that way. I'm sure not everybody, of course, feels that way, but generally as human beings, liking to feel valued and appreciated and acknowledged ourselves, we usually more or less appreciate that in return, even if sometimes at a lower frequency, we enact, you know, less productive efforts and measures to get that feeling, you know? So yeah, so that's that. Sorry it took so much to get out, you know, and maybe that's how the spirit feels, like it's pulling teeth, you know, to draw something out of you that is quite natural, so it seems. Lean into it. Be with the flow of love that is certainly well within you. All right, let's see. As you can see, I'm going to try to keep it fast today. Oh, wow, look at that. That is like divine confirmation. Look at that. You are advanced in the spirit, and you're, like, this is a gift. This is a gift. You're authorized to use it, and the more that you use it is the greater you will advance with this Chariot card. That's having great willpower, discipline, dedication, maybe even have had some experiences in life that would qualify you a great deal for authorization of this gift. So it's not just a matter of something that has dropped out of the sky and into your, you know, into your physical being, although it may seem like that to some degree, but it's also enhanced by your life experiences. Wow. So those two, and that's the practicality of it, to literally have something of value to offer. It even could just be by way of your personal testimony, or however you inject, again, your spiritual self into the things that you do throughout your livelihood practically, whether it be on the job, whether it be on your platform, your social platform, not being afraid. You know, sometimes people veer away from being too deep, too spiritual, too sensational, you know, in a good way sensational, because I realize that can have a negative connotation. But people fall back from that because they don't want to stand out too much, you know, or look weird or whatever. But it seems that you're almost like, there's almost like an appointment, you know, you're appointed to speak in at least a certain frequency, on account of your experiences with it, and also your purified intentions behind it. It's like, it's a difference between somebody that is looking to share prophetic words or intuitive intel to be acknowledged, or to get material gain, or to be advanced in some material way, almost exclusively, you know. And it's different with someone that literally has the heart to want to help and or heal, love at best, and so that's the motivation behind their expression. That's a different, you have to be who you are in that frequency. It's like the world needs more of that. No matter, I mean, you may run into some folks at times that are like, what? I don't know you, like what? You may. It's not likely though. And anyone that you would run into that's on that frequency, they may not be in the position to receive what you're saying or even who you are in a moment, but I guarantee you just your presence in that exchange will have planted a seed that could grow, you know, in dividends for them well beyond your encounter. And that makes a difference as well. You don't always need to see the influence or the impact of your intentions. That also comes with the nobility of possessing a certain gift such as what I'm speaking of. And it could be a range of things. It doesn't have to be literally somebody going around prophesying to everybody. You know, like people express their spiritual nature in so many ways, but usually it being the most vulnerable part of them because it's so intimate, it's the thing that they coil into the most and protect most dearly. I'm saying that whatever that is for you is what you should pour out more. That's what the world is asking for. Like your lips, that's the gift that the world didn't know that it needed. And it's only coming from you in the way that you can deliver it. That's so powerful. Yeah, you got the Seven of Swords. Like I said, you could run into folks that may want to exploit your your goodwill, your energy, or, you know, maybe in some ways that's the experience that you've had where you have been more open and more willing to share, and this is what you've been met by. That could also be the call and response for being more protective. And as I've said, you've earned the mastery's level of accountability now, to know when is the proper time to strengthen your boundaries or to be more reserved or conservative with your energy, and then when not to. And even when you may have shared or been more, what's the word that I'm trying to say? Not vulnerable, more, damn, it's a word. I can't hear it though. I hear it, but I can't hear it. Shoot, forget it. Even when you have found yourself generous. Thank you, Spirit. Okay, thank you. It'd be the smallest words, I swear. I'm praying about that. I really am. In my secret closet, I'm praying. But even when you were more generous and you haven't necessarily been well rewarded for that, or you've been taken advantage of, or even when you are generous, when you choose to be and you still find yourself encountering energies that would want to take advantage or manipulate or whatever their intention may be, it still doesn't affect you as long as your intentions are pure. You know, it's with the Seven of Swords, is somebody that's going to ultimately run into their own karma at some point down the line, even if they thought they got away with something. You know, so this could speak to you when you may have been more naive and, again, more generous and open with your sharing and felt disadvantaged or disenfranchised by it. And now where you're in the position where the value of it has increased even more. Like what you have to share and express of yourself is even more valuable now than it ever was. You may still find yourself considering those past experiences at the forefront of your intentions to share, and even that could be the reason for your apprehension. I'm encouraging you to trust yourself by way of your own discernment, to know that when you're doing what you're doing organically and purely, that's the only responsibility that you truly carry. What someone does with it, that's now their responsibility. And as long as you're not literally sacrificing yourself or being a martyr, you know, we don't want no religious or spiritual martyrs here. I'm not encouraging that at all. To you know, hang yourself up as a sacrifice for someone else's salvation. No, not at all. Like if somebody, shoot, even Jesus didn't encourage the disciples to do that. Like his word of wisdom to them when they were sent out to share the good news with the masses was, if people don't want to hear it, that's okay. Dust your shoes off and head on out. You know, like literally, don't push the issue, don't stress, don't take it personal, don't get offended, don't try to insist on your point, because that's ultimately what does put you out of the line of integrity and put you in harm's way to now fall victim to whatever the malintentions may be. But when you're just sharing, doing the Lord's work, that might be the title, you know, or doing God's work, however the phrase goes, you're in grace. You know, you are covered in grace. And it's actually a detriment to whomever would try to act against that, you know, to incur their own karma for it. So if that has anybody's name written on it as past experiences being the reason why you're apprehensive or shy or, you know, resistant to this spiritual calling, perhaps is what it may be, you can allow this energy here with this new moon, this full moon energy, to be one of those emotional reviews, you know, one of those emotional, what can I call it? Insubordinations to be up for a review. If you saw my message yesterday, you know why I'm saying that, because I called this full moon season with Capricorn more or less like you being the boss of your emotional subordinates, and this being like performance review, checking in with what's working for you, what's not, what you may, you know, even as a leader, even of your own emotional intelligence, sometimes you do have to take inventory of how you get to challenge your subordinates more. Like you may actually see opportunity where they're not performing at their highest capacity, and it may not be because they don't want to, but it may just be because they're not being challenged or inspired to really max out their potential. Same with your emotional energy, you know, something that you could do that you just like letting it sit on the back burner could perhaps be like your star employee, you know what I mean? So just something to think about, especially when we got all this money energy on the board. Is definitely material. It's not just a matter of ideal and, you know, emotions and something that you can be passive about. This is something that has the potential to make a great deal of an impact on your life, not to mention on others. Ooh, the sun. My goodness. Yeah, don't be afraid of the light now. The spotlight is all yours by way of the sun. It's like, and there's enough for everybody with the sun, right? We ain't never, honey, as evident right in this very moment, we ain't never got to fight over the sun. There is enough energy for us all to share. And somehow still it almost feels like it's beaming right on you, or at least it feels like that for me right now. You know, that's the beauty of the divine, You know, like it's specific to each encounter, each engagement, but yet collectively impressionable as well, or impactful. Yeah, something about that here. I mean, besides the fact that, like I said, it's more than just a good feeling. This is like productivity at its finest and at its highest with the sun energy. And ordained, like organically produced here. Meaning you have spiritual ordinance, divine ordinance, even anointing here in this case with the Ace of Cups to produce in the way that is natural to you. And allow yourself to have fun with it, because that's what the Sun card is. That's Leo energy, like enjoying yourself, not afraid to kind of be on display or to be a spectacle in some way, shape, or form, but not, you know, in a good way. Like I said, not doing it for the purposes of being a spectacle or even a sideshow, but also not afraid of, again, the spotlight that it may project on you for a time, to say something out of the ordinary or to do something different than the norm. It's okay. You're here to be different. If you're not being different, you're probably not being divine, quite honestly. I like that too. Oh, look at that, Ace of Swords. Look at all these aces. The only thing we're missing is the Ace of Wands. This is amazing. We're doing God's work out here, y'all. And you can't be holding back. You know, you don't want to answer to that CEO. You know, the chairman of the board, you know, up there. You don't want to answer. Well, in you, I should say, not up there, but internally, you don't want to, you don't want to be insubordinate to that superior, meaning your supreme self. It will be more of a detriment to you, like almost a voluntary demotion of who you're called here to be, than anything else. But of course, when, as I said, say there's a team of light beings, as there are obviously in the earth, and when one is not operating at their fullest potential, it does affect us all. And when you're intentionally not doing so, it's like you're literally holding back or keeping ideas to yourself because you're ashamed to, or you're afraid to express it. It might sound silly, or afraid somebody's going to steal it, so you just keep it on the back burner and then it never sees the light of day. It's like that type of energy. The whole team suffers, you know, as a result of being the weakest link. That ends up being the totality of the strength of the whole, you know. So you don't want to dim your light if you can help it. There are plenty of ways that we're still coming into awareness and acceptance of our light, you know, and getting comfortable with the reflection that emits, and that's fine. But when you know there's something, there's something that you're supposed to be doing, or that you feel even a certain sensation of euphoria, I would say, to some degree, because that's what the sun can also incite, like this blissfulness, even in the doing of the thing. Even if up until the release of it, you feel nervous, you feel strange, you're apprehensive, but the moment you do it, the moment you say it, the moment you are it, your whole, everything in your body goes up 10 decimals. You know, your energy skyrockets on account of it, like a rush of light to your being. You know those things. You know those things. And it may not be anything that I've already spoken on, but you know what it is for you. You probably also know why you're apprehensive to share it, or why you're not fully expressing it the way that you know, why you're holding back some. or why, I don't know. Why something? Why? Just why? Why not really is more the question, right? All right, it's getting hot in here. Exactly why are you resistant? Some, it could be because you don't feel like you're advanced enough, or you don't have enough information. You know, back to the idea about sharing intel or transmissions that you almost feel like you shouldn't know. You know, that could even be for content creators, particularly in the spiritual community, where you've been getting a word, and you know you didn't wrote in about 11 notebooks and journals about what you're hearing, but you're still like questioning it, like, oh, but should I say it though? And if I should, then when? And how's this going to look? Or how's this going to affect the community? Or what are people going to think, you know, once I release this word or this information? Like, that could be a thing too. But let's see what's on the Bible. Yeah, but be encouraged. Literally, be bold, be brave, be confident. This is double Leo energy here. They don't give a damn what they say. Usually. They just gonna speak and act and be and do, and it's like, you probably gonna like it. That's the funny thing, is most likely you'll at least be entertained by it. So that's the thing, like, you may be all up in arms and anxious about nothing, or even just either insecure or overthinking it. So just go ahead, release the beast. Whatever that is. All right, let's see, a couple more. I'm gonna do one more row. I think I got time enough for that. Oh, look at that. You better speak. This is definitely about some type of communication, but it's about expression. I'll say that, because it may not even be words, but it's definitely about expression from a deep source. Elevated expression from the depths of you. That's what this is about. It's time for that to be illuminated, highlighted, spotlighted, highlit, whatever. I think it is highlighted, but spotlighted don't sound right to me. But it's time for you to step into the light, or step up to the mic, step into the camera, and be heard, be seen, be experienced, be appreciated for what you have to offer. Yeah. Wow, that's deep with this Ace of Swords. That's like, oh my goodness. All right, let's see what else we got. Seven of Pentacles. Yeah, and it for the long haul too, or it could even be that you may have been burying this for too long. That, yeah, I'm feeling more on that than anything. That this is you taking inventory of what you have, and like considering it feels more about time past than time to come, but a little bit of both, in the case that, you know, you're like standing right in the middle, because what you may be observing and reflecting is on a season in which it may not have been time to share all that you know, or express all that you feel or sense, and that was a certain protective measure that was put in place, or, you know, just a reasonable measure of the divine to bring in to align timing with your audience, to align you in the timing with your audience. Because for many, it's like you've been gifted, but it just may not have been, you know, your time to shine, or it may, you know, literally spirit may have kept the curtains drawn for multiple reasons. Either the audience wasn't ready for what you were going to express, or the customer base or whatever the exchange was, it wasn't ready yet. And also for you to cultivate more in knowledge, understanding, and wisdom of your craft, and also more appreciation and trust, which ultimately materializes into confidence with expressing it. So all of those elements needed to be on a line and on one accord and in alignment together for showtime to be just right. So where you may be reflecting on times when you tried that, you did that, it didn't quite yield what you expected, or not much at all, or you weren't quite understood, well received, acknowledged. It certainly could even speak to it not being lucrative, or have created a stability and security for you in the physical form. All of that is valid reasons as to why one would hold back now. But you may be observing from a season that has long since passed, and you're in something completely new now. You're to engage this almost as if it's a premiere, you know, like a grand opening or a new release altogether, not from what it was before, because it could be that the audience or whomever, however, whatever you were expressing yourself to wasn't who was meant to hear it anyway. You know, they were never going to be the ones to receive it. But now you're better, you're stronger. What Sha'Carri Richardson said, she said, I'm not back, I'm better. Yes, she's killing it too. I tried to post something about her in relation to my last message, when I kind of went into this thing about racing and marathons and stuff. But the one short I wanted to post, for some reason, it wasn't postable. I guess it was like kids restricted or something. I don't know. And then I didn't really dig too far to find something else, unfortunately. But side note, shout out to her, okay? But anyway, yeah, so you are encouraged to see yourself in new form, even as rare form as that may seem and feel to some, or to however you have contained yourself on account of past experiences. Now it's time to shine organically. All right, let me just get a couple more at the bottom. Five of Pentacles, yeah, that could be the reflection here. When it didn't bring in no money, nobody was trying to hear it. You ain't had no followers, no subscribers, no friends, no views, you know, no engagement, all of that. Yeah, but it's a new season for you. And what has made you better, even better at manifesting, is, like I said earlier, how you were able to alchemize that energy and store it away, even transmuting it, certainly alchemizing, but you alchemize that experience to then transfer into other more practical energies, where you can now see confidently that evidence of how valuable you are, and then that gets to transfer back over to where your true essence lies, if that makes sense. It's like maybe you were activated in a spiritual essence before, but you didn't really see a return on that, you know, wasn't stable or whatever. Not that you were doing it for that, but you know, you had to made some practical decisions. But what you did, instead of regressing into this, you know, allowing this state of despair to withhold you from any productivity or prosperity, you transfer that energy into something that you could depend on, that you could count on, you could measure. And that should have been the fuel of your confidence in another way that now you can reflect upon and know that it's not limited to what's tangible or what's measurable. It's transferable from the true essence of you in the first place. Because if you weren't who you are and possessing the gifts that you have, you wouldn't have even been able to do that from a point of despair. Like literally pick yourself up from the bootstraps and maybe try a new profession, a new job, a new, a new talent, whatever. You've done this already. So that's just more evidence for just how magnificent you are. And now you get to return that back to the foundation of your spiritual essence as as a, how can I say it? I don't know how to say it. As, what was that? What did I just hear? I was going to say, not incentive. Well, I guess, kind of like an incentive, but more so, yeah, kind of an incentive, like incentivizing yourself. But it's more than that. Like things, when you on the job, like corporate job, when they create certain things, I guess they are incentives that make you want to work harder. But in that case, it doesn't really feel like that to me because it's something that you've already done. It's not like a prize or something dangling in front of you. Or maybe that is what I'm getting to and I'm just not saying it. It's not clicking well. But incentive could be a thing too, that there is definitely something in it of advancement for you, which I kind of already spoke on. But it's something about maybe doing your own performance review and observing how you have excelled, advanced, and persevered in tougher seasons, and really bridging the connection of those attributes to your spiritual nature more than it just being like, oh, well, I'm just a hard worker, or I just had no choice, or my circumstances dictated that I had to do X, Y, and Z. It's like, no, you didn't have to do anything, because a lot of people that could have faced what you did, maybe even rejection or misunderstanding or disinterest, whatever, wouldn't have been able to pick up and transfer their creativity to something else. They would have fallen, completely to maybe victim mentality or victimhood, or just into despair altogether, maybe at least into some feeling of worthlessness on account of it, which ultimately would have affected the whole operation, even in a more practical sense, So maybe that's what I'm getting at, that you need to do your own review and see, yeah, look at this. Wow. Thank you, Spirit, for these messages. You literally picked yourself up by the bootstraps when it seemed like all was lost. It wasn't. But who do you get to be? Who must you be to be able to transmute from this point? To transcend this energy and then transmute it into this advancement here at the 10. Page of Cups. This is like the foundation of your, reviewing yourself at the core, at the foundation. Honestly, we could be talking about gifts and traits and abilities that you've possessed since you were a kid. So it's like you may be astounded by the pronunciation of it or even the advancement of it at this point, but it was only, you know, like it was like, it only makes sense at this point because you were always the Page of Cups, that now with time, with experience, with rejection, with despair, you know, with more knowledge and wisdom, that you are in fact the Queen of Cups justifiably, masculine or feminine. Of course you are. And there might be the part of the review that I'm talking about, particularly with the 10 of Pentacles here, because that's about family. Yeah, like at some point in time, yes, you probably were disconnected from that awareness or that realization because of your familial upbringing or your just your growing pains, like life experience may have been the conditioning force that may have either disconnected you from your gifts or depleted your confidence in them, where you would have been more nurtured to grow naturally. For some, you almost feel a bit like a late bloomer. You're not, but it's just that your confidence has had to catch up to your creativity, because in between all that time, there could have been projections and oppression and suppression, just even by, you know, societal, inflections, maybe even not familial, but of course, obviously it spills into that. Don't actually have a family that may have told you at a young age or at a young point in your life that you were crazy, or you didn't know what you were talking about, or that some maybe have even demonized you for certain abilities or gifts or expressions, or demonize that overall. And that would absolutely regress you into this point of insecurity where you don't even feel confident or, you know, authorized to activate or actualize them. So yeah, that's what we're talking about here. That's a part of that review as well, considering where this may have come from at the root and pulling that shit out so it never can have an effect again, so those weeds don't grow in this new season of your life. Wow. Exactly. This is the father figure. And it could speak to the energy of which you revere to be your elder, superior. It could even be, you know, the holding space for family overall, and how you may have been in submission to what was acceptable in your life. It may have been a particular family member, father, mother, uncle, grandpa, whatever, but I feel more broad that it speaks to an ideal of family values here that may be outdated for you. Yeah. That may be outdated if you hold yourself to the traditions that are not advancing for the legacy that you're leading. It doesn't necessarily condemn your upbringing altogether, or even even question it, really, but it's just a matter of now, how have you been called to carry that torch at this point? This leg of legacy that you are championing, what does that look like for you? Because for many, it does not look like what your mother and father or grandfather or auntie or whomever the caregivers of your life were, it may not look like that. We're not even in a world that looks like that, like it did for them even just a generation ago. So consider many generations, or like I said, a mindset of values, ideals that have been passed on and on and on. You can take the value of that at its highest, but the torch is up, is in your hands to magnify it, to now carry it a greater distance than where it may have even once been limited. Yeah. And you may even have, oh, look at this, the Lovers, like I said. And the choice is yours to answer to that charge, to take up that charge or answer that calling. It's always up to you. This is literally answering to that supreme nature of you that look at you naked. Naked and unafraid, though. But that may be a bit taboo. That may be unconventional, untraditional, out of alignment with what of the family business or the family trait or the family way. But what does that mean? Does that mean you're going to say no? Because that's the gateway to the fullness of your prosperity. Maybe even to a divine inheritance, as a matter of fact, by way of this Ace of Pentacles. In partnership, in union, in the family, the legacy that you're now building. Like I said in the beginning, it's like, what would you do if you knew you had total support? What would you do if you knew that not only did you have the support, because you have celestial support, you have divine ordinance to do whatever it is that you're doing. So that matters more than any material resource. But then knowing that that was the gateway to your material inheritance, to your love inheritance, your partnership, that divine union that you may be in the market for a lifetime of bliss and happiness and fulfillment, to the truth of who you are. What would you allow anything to stop you or hold you back from that at this point, even within yourself? What's worth more than that is the question that I'm asking. Not much. Here's the King of Wands. Hey, baby. I love you. Yeah, that could even be you and your assertive creative power, like facing off with with authority, or with not authority, what's the right word, like with the establishment. Interesting. And you could take that word just as roundedly as I already expressed. It literally could be the authority figure in your life who you feel a certain submission or, deference to, or it could be the system of authority that we all answer to as a people, a human race, societally, familially, as a whole, culturally, all of that. It's like, who is the boss of you? Because in this dynamic, the Emperor is of a higher rank than the King of Wands. However, the King of Wands holds autonomous creativity, creative abilities here, is a master of alchemy in the highest frequency, of course. So it's like deference can be, you can be respectful without being demeaned. or I should say you can be respectful without being regressive. I like that better. Meaning you can honor the legacy of the past, even the objections of the present. You know, like you may not get the support in all the ways that you look to have it, or in the ways that would seem to make sense, or that would just make you feel more comfortable and more secure, more confident, you know, in what you're doing. It may not be understood on the ground level here, but as the King of Wands, you almost have to answer to those ambitions and those impulses before you allow anyone to answer for you. And like I said, in the mastery energy of the king, you can still do so without it being a detriment to anyone else, without it being an imposition, a disrespect. If they receive it as a disrespect, that's on their own cognition. But as far as what you choose to do, what you willed your energy toward, that's by your own accountability. Wow, and the Empress. So we could have what Mama used to say, take your time, old man, or young man. Yeah, I don't even know that whole song, but that's what I heard just now when I saw the Empress. But yeah, it could be either. This is, again, to that deference, to wanting to be in acceptance, to wanting to be agreeable. Like I said earlier, who doesn't want to feel like they're doing something that is appreciated, or that is praised, you know, or praise is kind of strong, but that is, I can't think of the word. Agreeable, praise, kind of, but there's something in between those words that I'm not hearing. But I think you probably get what I'm saying. More or less like consider the child to parent dynamic, where most good children, you know, most children in general, at least at some point, but children usually like to be in, feel like they're in a state of, I still can't find it. Like they're being pleasing to their folks, you know, or to whomever the authority is. Even to like your student to teacher could be that energy as well, where you may have grown up in a certain frequency of I almost said indoctrination, you know, or like a school of thought. And now you have your own ideas, or you are wanting to explore the expansion of those concepts on your own terms. Sometimes people can be offended by that, you know, can feel disrespected. But again, that's a them problem. That's not a you problem, especially not when you're answering to a higher calling for you. It's up to them to answer to whatever calling they must, you know, adhere to at that point. And a lot of times that's what the resistance comes out to be. Many times when you get pushback or resistance from doing something out of the ordinary, usually it's because it provokes a bit of a fear or insecurity in whomever is opposing, to consider, you know, almost to kind of do their own performance review, like, well, what I taught you ain't enough, or the example that I was isn't enough, or really deflecting where it may actually be an invitation or a nudge for them to now advance, expand, evolve, you know. So don't take it personal. Just keep doing you unapologetically, as the King of Wands would, which is also Leo energy. Got a lot of Leo energy, so maybe that may be the breakout season, which you know, right now in Cancer season, we're all kind of nesting again, kind of going in internally, becoming comfortable with this new expression of ourselves, you know, fixing it up, sprucing it up, because your Cancer season, it might not just be home, but it even could be your comfort with your own being, you know. So imagine if you may not be nesting or rearranging, redecorating, making home itself in the physical form more comfortable, you may be reconditioning yourself to be more comfortable in that home with this identity that you're beginning to experience of yourself before you break out and share it, you know, on stage like Leo would. Yeah, well, that kind of came out in a struggle, but I'm gonna take it. I'll take it up, right? Yeah, and this is observation that, again, it could be from the outside in. It even could be you observing you on the inside out, and considering your level of knowledge here, you know, like measuring your level of knowledge. That's what it feels like almost. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't try not to measure yourself too closely with what the opposition may have to say, or even what you think the outside appearance or perception of you may be. That's what I'm sensing here with this trio, like somebody that could have the propensity to take too much stock in what they think the outside perception of them is, even from, like I said, all of those familiar places in their lives, but certainly even from the strange ones. Because hell, if you feel like you don't have the support and understanding from home base, it certainly is scary to consider what people that don't know you might think about you or feel about you. But a lot of times, secretly, people that don't know you are usually more open and receptive and understanding, or at least willing to understand, than where people feel like, you know, they've known you all their life, or they've known you in a certain season that makes it hard for them to accept you otherwise. And you may be caught in the middle of all of that energy. But just maintain the frequency of the King of Wands, who is confident no matter what. He's not really looking to match up to anyone else's fly, quite honestly. He's the trendsetter. You know, he's the one that's setting the trends, and you know, his style becomes what's duplicated or imitated, not the other way around. So whereas it may look a bit strange at first, which honestly it's the only wand energy on here right now, I'm just noticing that the King of Wands amidst all the other elements is the only wand. So where it may look strange, it may look different, it may be so revolutionary, you know, ahead of its time, that at first people do look from the outside in and wonder, what the heck is he doing? What is he wearing? What is he talking about? What is, you know, like, it may be different at first to engage, but best believe when the King of Wands is operating in their organic, most organic expression of talent, passion, enthusiasm, art, expression overall, it becomes the thing to emulate. Whether people want to or not, whether people even realize they are or not, it just does. It's a trailblazer type of energy that ultimately clears the path, at least if nothing else, for other people to follow suit in their own right. So whereas people may be looking at you strange, like, what's he doing? Even if they don't necessarily follow up and do exactly what you're doing, they will somehow find themselves being inspired simply on the fact that you had the courage to do it. And now they find that impulse of passion within themselves to do it on their own terms. And that's amazing. Again, you can't forfeit that level of impact on the world, like you have a responsibility to express it when it has that much potential to literally compel others to be courageous and to be revolutionary in their own right, where they may have felt small before. You perhaps may be the only example, safe and successful example, that is a possibility for them. So imagine withholding that from creation. It really only makes our own lives harder when we do that, because the more people are encouraged to live out their own, confidence and boldness, the easier time we all have, and this becomes less of a stalker energy and more just of admire, an admiration. Not people looking to cut you down or compete with you, but if anything, just looking to continue to be inspired to do what they're doing, and then so on and so forth. Because when you are focused enough on your own creativity, you have much less time to infringe upon others. And that's what we need more in the world than anything. Yeah, to focus on your own wealth, your own investments of your energy. Yeah, like literally seeing the gift within you, even if it's at a foundational level, or connecting with the value of you. It's something about, definitely about adolescence here, or something about, childhood regression, to remember how gifted you were once upon a time before somebody told you that you weren't. That's this energy here. How innocent, with that Page of Cups, how innocent your expressions were before somebody tainted that cup and told you either needed to shut up, or that wasn't right, or, switch it up or something. How insightful you were, and innocently inspired to then, to be creative in your own right, before you started to feel insecure and feel like, inspiration now was competition or threat. Yeah, like it's something that, yeah, exactly. Getting back to the joy of life. And what's this, just to see? And look at that, 4 of Wands, being at home and comfortable with yourself, investing that energy into you at a foundational level, and celebrating yourself even if no one else is. And something else is, because these could always, I see these sometimes as ancestors, way showers, guides, the angelic realms. Like, we got another one. Somebody else is stepping out into their authentic self. Somebody else is willing to meet the challenge, willing to be different. Like, there's always celebration in honor of you. Ultimately, just returning to the purest, most innocent essence of you, but now knowing all that you know. Like, how that is. It's like, if you could, sometimes you could reflect on things where you made certain decisions or choices, but now if you knew all that you knew, you could consider, not in regret or remorse or anything, but with all you know now, it's like you would run circles around your old self. Even if you consider relationships, or your own wealth and value, what you should be, what you're worthy of. If you had known back in the day when you would just giving yourself away, like I said, being extra generous, extra loving, extra caring, giving money away, giving your talents away, to freely or to jobs that never deserved you and things like that. It's like, if you had you would think that if you had known what you knew then, you would run circles around the decisions that you made at that point. But the point of life is to take all that you've known, all that you're learning along the way, and continue to roll it up into that supreme expression of you as it continues to evolve, without regret and remorse, but certainly without regression to another state of being, doing, and believing that wasn't really all that beneficial or prosperous for you then. So now, knowing all that you know, you can discern that it's certainly not so now. You get to take all that wisdom, all that innocence, all that enthusiasm, all that bright-eyed ambition that you once had, and now roll it into wisdom and knowledge and truth and experience. And now you're running circles around anything or anyone that would want to oppose that, because your foundation is set, only to then continue to elevate from that point. So yeah, and that's confidence right there. That's confidence. Live in that. There are a lot of projections that would want to push you back from it, but you've learned enough, you've grown enough, at least at this point, to know that you can trust yourself with how you're expressing your energy at this point. It's not to say there isn't more to learn and more to grow, but you have to find your footing and your confidence and courage at some level before you can even ascend or elevate beyond, you know? And now is no better time than the present, and no perfect moment than this one right here. So yeah, keep doing what you're doing. Thank you for the inspiration to even transmit a message such as this, because obviously it's a frequency that we're sharing for it to come up, and I love that. I love when I can be in this flow more than anything. So you're doing something right, and you're doing it well. Be encouraged. All right. Thank you for listening and watching. Until next time, as always, I leave you with peace.